As the transforming decade of the 1920s neared its end, Longview was bustling. Only 6 years after the city's founding, 3 new mills provided jobs to support the city of 10,000 people. Fine new buildings gracing the landscape included a hotel, library, and the community church. But trying times were ahead as national and world events impacted Longview. Following the stock market crash of 1929, unemployment rose as mills cut production and families struggled. The Great Depression presented challenges for the young congregation. Community churches' desire to grow and reach out to the community had included the 20th Avenue Church, built in early 1929. But the congregation was unable to meet the mortgage, and the satellite church was sold to Foursquare Gospel in 1937. The congregation successfully met its $75,000 church building obligation through 1934, but continuing financial difficulties in 1937 forced the board of directors to refinance the loan. The mortgage was finally paid in full in May 1943, in time for the church's 20th anniversary celebration.
Despite the hard times, on a Missions Sunday, Reverend Gebbert challenged each member of the congregation to give a 50-cent offering, saying, "I realize that this can be difficult with your building fund pledges, but God will bless us for such remembrances." A service to the community included the temple singers beginning a tradition of music presentations, such as The Messiah and 7 Last Words. Reverend Gebbert gave encouragement with a twice-weekly radio message, and Vacation Bible School began in 1933. Outreach also included caring for students with baccalaureate services, commencements, and banquets for graduating seniors.
My folks talked about the hard times we were in, but I didn't really know what that was. My friends and I enjoyed playing on the hard ice of Lake Sacagawea in 1935, and the snow in some years was also fun.
In 1932, the Women's Assembly started their calendar teas, a tradition which continued for 40 years. They also held many luncheons, dinners, rummage sales, paper drives, and bazaars during the 1930s. They used the proceeds to fulfill their $10,000 building fund pledge, supported the education of a girl in San Salvador, and contributed to Red Cross flood relief and other local welfare work.
Trying to get through the Depression made for hard times for Longview and the congregation. But the 1934 death of Robert A. Long, a visionary, founder, and friend, was a loss felt by many. Services were held at Community Church, and the Daily News reported that the entire city paused in remembrance. New challenges appeared as World War II began in Europe and Asia. The 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor brought the United States into the war, and its effects were soon felt in Cowlitz County and Longview Community Church.
1941 to 42 was a difficult year because of the war. People were enlisting and relocating, and the rationing of rubber and gasoline made driving to church impossible. Working 7 days a week is affecting the work of the church. I am amazed how many people are working Sundays, and I doubt that we have had a year when there have been as many indisposed because of pneumonia, measles, scarlet fever, and the flu. I have made more than 1,400 calls during the year, and half that number on the sick.
Everyone assisted with the war effort, and Community Church was no different, helping the community and supporting and uplifting those serving in the military.
The church became a Red Cross center for blood donations. The women folded bandages, prepared first aid kits, sewed and knitted socks and scarves, and prepared and served food to servicemen at Hospitality House. The building was designated as an emergency hospital in the event of an air raid or disaster. The church also purchased war savings bonds. Mrs. Gebert regularly wrote each service person from our congregation during the war. One serviceman shared the thoughts of many.
I want to thank you and the church for the lovely Christmas card. If I were to fill a dozen pages with close type, I couldn't begin to tell you about the suffering, inhumanity, and stark horror of the conflict. We fellows from home long for the day when we will be back in familiar surroundings among our friends and loved ones.
A service flag with stars representing those from the church serving in the war was hung in the sanctuary. As in all wars, most returned home, but some did not. Gold stars honored those who had lost their lives. In December 1944, the board sent letters of sympathy to our 5 Gold Star families, with a 6th star added later.